Good afternoon, everybody. This is a meeting of the Licensing Act Committee. Item 1, we need to elect the chair. So may I have a proposer? Thank you, Councillor Palin. Yes. And Councillor Ellis. We need to vote on that.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you. Yeah. Carried. Item 2, no apologies for absence. And item 3 is to approve as a correct record the minutes of the meeting held on 23rd February 2023. May I have a proposer?
As the only person present.
Seconder and the full Monty, thank you. Item 4, there are no declarations of interest. And item 5, which is the substantive item on the agenda, which is the consideration of an application to vary a premises licence known as Sashers at 46 Front Street, Arnold. Okay. Mr. Smith, this is us three here, we form the panel, and we will be actually making the decision on the application. Craig is from legal. Ben makes sure that everything's recorded properly. Okay, and this gentleman's the Environment Officer. Okay, so we've all read the bundle, all the papers, and we will go ahead now and ask you to present your case. I'm happy for you to sit there, yeah.
Hi, so I'm Alex Smith, I'm the owner of Sashers, and basically what we're asking for, what we originally asked for was to extend all our licensable activities by 1 hour, so taking us from a close at 1:30 till 2:30. Police have agreed, Environmental Health have disagreed, so William came to see me, and we've came to a compromise on closing at 2 a.m. But the reason for today is he wants the music to stop at 1. Now, my point is, if there's no music at 1, which is when the music stops already, no one's going to sit in the building for an extra hour. And the whole idea of it is obviously to gain more money, more income, etc. So the way I see it, if there's no music and flashing lights are going off, it's a point of duty of care. I need to turn the lights on, otherwise people are going to get agitated in a bar that's gone from up here to down here. And if I turn the lights on in a bar and there's no music on, people are just going to leave. So what I was suggesting to William was, is there any way we can come to an agreement on some background noise, and I dim the lights rather than turn them fully on, as this will obviously keep a lot more people in. If we can come to some sort of agreement, I don't mind playing a certain type of music if that would help alleviate the situation, like some wind down music, for example. Like I said, times now are hard, not a lot of people coming out, so I need to try and make as much money as I can, keep staff in jobs, etc. And getting that extra hour in, obviously we've come down to half an hour, but even that extra half an hour, it's going to get a lot more to pay the staff. Also, what I know William said he liked about what I suggested was, if the music was lower, as a background noise, as people leave, people might leave a lot more calmer, a lot more orderly when they're leaving the venue to go to their home, therefore helping the noise issue. So I was hoping, obviously, that would help with you guys. But I know what you're saying with how do you monitor that? So that's obviously why I want to come today, to see if we can come to some sort of agreement on that. I did say that the DJ would still stop at 1, so it would put all the onus on us if the music levels are too high, because I don't want any outside factors other than us affecting the music levels. And it also wouldn't be used every single weekend. It would only be if there was enough people in and it was a good night to the point where I can still pay the staff and still pay the door staff and still make a bit more money on top of that. So it wouldn't be an every single weekend thing. It might be a once a month, at the start of the month, sort of situation. That's everything.
questions.
Yes. Do you have any questions?
Not necessarily questions at this time. I suppose the point is, I appreciate the idea, and I think it's a good idea, especially the part where you're lowering it down, you're lowering the tempo of the music, and people are generally going to be slightly quieter when they're leaving the premises. I do think it's just going to be very difficult for us to firstly monitor and secondly come up with some kind of condition that will regulate that, basically. So yeah.
Thank you. Panel members, do you have any questions?
My question is that you've now also asked for off-sales licence in that. Is there a reason?
We got contacted, I believe Rachel contacted me and said, because of what happened with COVID, it kind of went all into one, whereas now I need to actually apply for another one because it's now differentiated. That's what I believe, that's what I've been told.
Oh, so
Chair, would you like me to respond to that?
Yes,
Yes,
please.
So under the Business and Planning Act that gave us the pavement cafe licensing, it also allowed premises that only had on-licence alcohol sales to have off sales without having to change their licences. From the end of December this year, that has been removed. So anybody that doesn't have off sales has got to now vary the licence. Excuse me. So the advice to Alex was, as he was putting a variation in anyway, he may as well add that in. So it is a very common to have on and off sales, but for some reason when Alex first applied, he only ticked the on sales box. In order to have the pavement cafe outside and to sell alcohol to be consumed outside, he needs the off sales on his licence. So it was my advice for him to put that on.
thank you for that. So that's not an issue for me anymore. Thank you.
Councillor Ellis?
Yes, I wonder, Alex, whether you could estimate for us how often you see it as worthwhile to remain open a little longer.
So, as I said before, on the first week of the month, when obviously everyone's just been paid, so that definitely at least 12 times a year, because I would use that on probably the Saturday, because that's when everyone would come out because they've just been paid. Realistically, if there was any, if you guys said you wouldn't want it every single week and you said you had to put a number to it, the minimum I'd say would be 12. So once a month to be allowed.
I think we'll...
Sorry, my thing is not working properly. Will, please go ahead.
Thank you. If we just step away from these points that have been made, and with regards to staying open the extra 30 minutes with the music on, and just cover the whole application as a whole, am I able to just read out my statement in relation to the whole application as a whole? So my name is William Langston. I'm an Environmental Health Officer employed by Gedling Borough Council. I hold a Masters of Science degree in Environmental Health. Part of my job involves dealing with noise complaints in the northern part of the borough, which includes Arnold. I'm consulted on to give professional opinion where planning and licensing applications are made. When consulted, I give a view of possible impact of developments and licensed premises on the local community. When I received the application to vary the licence conditions for Sash's Bar, I took into consideration the hours that they were asking to extend by, the proximity of local dwellings and the general late night noise profile. When I looked at the application, I noted that Sash's Bar currently, the current hours they have are alcohol until 1 o'clock in the morning and they're closing at 1:30 in the morning. These times are already beyond what the other premises in the area are. These other bars such as Boston's, Dexter's and Sully's bar, which are very similar premises. And based on my professional opinion and the experience I've gained when monitoring noise from licensed premises in Arnold, I believe that a further extension of licensable activities is extremely likely to generate more complaints specifically directed to Sash's Bar regarding noise. I understand that Sash's Bar don't wish to utilise these extended hours every weekend, and only request to use the applied extension when the licence holders have special events or parties. Alex explained that already. This will be an unquantifiable number. At the moment, he's not requested any specific number. And in my opinion, the best option may be to go for temporary event notices instead. In short, the business operators require special events for one-off parties. For example, if he wants to hold events beyond his licensable hours, he'll have to go for a temporary event notice at the moment. I based my concerns regarding noise because on the 1st of September 2022, the level of noise reached a level where I was required to take action under the Environmental Protection Act 1990 and serve the business owner with an abatement notice to deal with statutory nuisance of noise. Whilst this formal intervention did reduce the level of noise in the area and complaints have reduced but not stopped, so I still have some level of involvement in the area with monitoring. It is worthwhile also mentioning that abatement notice was served on a number of premises in the area as well, so it wasn't just Alex that received that. So far I have agreed with Alex that it would be acceptable to have an extension of 30 minutes on their opening hours, so agreed until 2 o'clock in the morning. But my thought process behind this is it will further spread out dispersion of the customers away from Front Street, so they're not all leaving in one big group, and this will generally reduce noise in the area and hopefully reduce the likelihood of antisocial behaviour in the street as well. When I receive applications and consider them, I always try to strike a balance on one hand of supporting the businesses and generating economic growth, and on the other hand, protecting the physical and mental well-being of the residents who may be affected by the actions of the business. Whilst I'm delighted to see the businesses growing and improving, however, this cannot come at the expense of local residents, and an extension of Sash's licensable activities, as was demonstrated on its initial application, in my opinion, would very likely cause a nuisance for the residents around Front Street. Thank you.
Thank you. May I ask, is there anything further since your report? Is there anything else to add after the 31st of August and your last report?
There has been a couple of further complaints coming, but they've not regarding the noise on Front Street, but they've not specifically targeted Sash's, so I don't think it would be particularly fair to add them.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the Environmental Health Officer, Alex?
No questions, but when you said that we're the only bar now that is open till 1:30, Dexter's have also been allowed and licensed now till 1:30. So when you first gave us a letter of the noise pollution, so we implemented stuff like closing the windows at 11, closing the doors at 11, outdoor speaker off at 11 to try and lessen that impact. We also, the police told me to do this, get a decibel meter, take some recordings, and if anything else came of that, then I've got some evidence, but nothing else came of it. Then a year later, another letter came, and it was to all three of us bars. I think it was to the new bars as well, Sully's. And since then, again, I did the decibel readings, blah, 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 blah. I've also now implemented because I agree, people being out on the street is causing a lot of noise. Of course it is. Even if you turn off an outdoor speaker and close the doors, people just being on the streets are loud, especially when they've had a few drinks. So we've decided to close our doors at 11:30. No one else, this was before when Dexter's closed at 12. So those customers that stayed in Dexter's and Boston's wouldn't be coming over, they'd be going straight home. And I believe that's kept a lot of people off the street. However, now, because us and Dexter's are closing at 1 at the same time, it's keeping people out on the street again. So in terms of people just being out and standing around, it's now, there's more people. So again, I feel like that extra half an hour where it staggers people more.
Okay, thank you. Panel members, do you have any further questions?
I think it's about that standing around outside afterwards, and it's not your duty to move them on. I understand that, but do people think that they can come back in if they pop out for a vape or a cigarette? Is that leaving, or do your door officers let them back in? So, our problem is the noise, obviously, and if the doors are constantly opening as people come in and go out, that adds to the burden for the neighbourhood. So are people allowed back in if they just pop out, or is that they're advised you won't be let back in again?
So as of now, right now, if people leave past 12, they won't be coming back in. But from that 11:30 till 12, yes, you can go out for a fag or a vape or whatever. William did say on the new licence to go forward would be if we did get it till 2, then if people left after 1, they wouldn't be allowed back in. And to close the doors at 1 to not allow any more new people in, which I've agreed with. I think that's fine. But again, I'm open to any suggestions on that.
Panel, any further questions? Councillor Ellis?
Thank you. It's just asking for information, really. How long ago did Dexter's get their licence extended to 1:30? If anyone can help me with that.
Was that opening hours or just the licence? Sorry, I didn't hear that. 5th of September this year. Right, very recently. Thank you.
So can I ask our environmental health officer, have you noticed any difference in the number of complaints or type of complaints since then?
Not necessarily. There was one that came in off the top of my head on the 28th of September, but again, it didn't pick a particular bar out. It was generally just noise on that section of Front Street. So they were picking out the area in which Sashers and Dexter's and everywhere is. So that particular area of Front Street, not the rest of it. But they didn't pick out a particular bar. And I think they were, on this particular complaint, they were more concerned about the people shouting between the two venues rather than the actual noise coming from the venue. So.
Thank you, Will. Anything further, panel?
No, I'm trying to.
Would you like a little bit longer? We're going to take a little bit longer because this is our last chance.
Head round when people can come in and out. It seems very late in the night for people still to be coming in and out and trying to get my head round the overall thoughts of how it affects the other two bars and things. Particularly in the light of the comment that it is the noise between the bars, which is difficult for you as a licensee to control in any way, apart from stopping your users going out and coming back in again. So I'm trying to think if that might be something we might want to look at the condition on, but
Yeah, perhaps when you're actually monitoring it as well, there is a noticeable difference. Even if you're halfway up Worrell Avenue, you can tell when someone opens the door as well. So when the music is on, you can tell when someone opens the door, but it's only a second or something that it's happening. But it's noticeable when somebody opens the door with the music on.
thank you.
Will, may I ask then, Worrell Avenue is quite a way away. how far would you say that the noise is a nuisance from? Within how many, say, 100 metres
Yeah, it's difficult to say.
in a radius?
It's difficult to say with regards to that, but I walked on the day that I went and visited Alex. I can't remember the date, unfortunately. It was one Saturday evening, approximately 10:30 at night, and I walked up halfway up Worrell Avenue, and it was halfway up. You could hear the music, but you couldn't hear the lyrics or anything like that. And then you walk back to the base of Worrell Avenue, where it then becomes Front Street, and you can clearly hear the lyrics and everything there. And that's at that point, Sasha still had their doors open, permanently open for anyone to walk in and out. But I would say anyone with their window open at least halfway up Worrell Avenue can comfortably hear that music. Halfway up, if they've got their windows closed, then it would perhaps be not be able to hear it. But certainly the first 5 or 6 houses on Worrell Avenue will be able to hear it with their doors open. When they close the doors, then it's much more reasonable.
Okay, thank you very much. You said that was 10:30.
Yeah, so I visited it at 10:30, and at the time, because I felt it was quite loud, I asked Alex to close the doors at that point, which he did.
Thank you. Summing up, I believe then. Oh, sorry. Will, was there something else? Did you want to sum up?
No, I don't think so. I think my statement covers pretty much everything I need to say, really. So.
Yeah. Is this your last opportunity then to address the panel and add in anything further you think might assist in your application?
So nothing really to assist, but talking again on what that night when William came to see me. So it was about 10:30. The doors had closed, window was closed, the outdoor speaker was off. Now, I know, and on the night you did make the comment as well, that Boston's doors were wide open and they were very loud. So if the issue is music in the area from a music standpoint, not people, putting us all on a certain time scale to close our doors and outdoor speakers would probably be a good idea. Because I've known Boston sometimes to have their doors open till 12 and have their music on, etc., etc. So if you put us all down, you mentioned 10:30 would be a good time. If you said to all of us 10:30, no speaker, windows and doors closed, I think that would help with a noise point of view.
Anything further? No? Okay, thank you.
I need to check with our legal advisor.
Go ahead.
From this hearing, we wouldn't be able to do that, would we? Would we need to actually ask?
There'd have to be either a variation of Boston's and Dexter's or a review of Boston's and Dexter's to trigger that license, the ability to impose conditions, unless they were willing to agree a variation.
So,
between.
So as a result of our discussion about the overall nuisance, might we be able to sort of trigger the consultation with the other bars?
I think it would be for the licensing team or environmental health to determine whether there's enough to request a review or have those conversations with them, with those other bars.
Thank you. To any one particular.
Okay, Alex, we're going to, could you retire now while we...
We will retire.
Oh, sorry, no, we'll retire. You stay right there to make our decision. Thank you. It's the opposite then. Welcome back, everybody. The panel has made its decision. We've considered it very carefully. And we've decided that we're not minded to grant the variations with the exception of the off-sales element. The grounds are that there was great concern about the continuing noise, which doesn't appear to have been dealt with completely, and extending the range of that noise for how much longer it would last. Not nice if you're a neighbour, really. So pushing the extent of the licensing hours undermines the licensing objectives of the prevention of public nuisance. Okay. A formal decision notice will be sent to you, and you'll have 21 days to appeal to the Magistrates' Court should you so wish to do. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your application. Cheers. This meeting is closed.